This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And let me tell you, simply put, we've talked about trades, we've talked about this, we've talked about that so far this season. And my goodness, we could talk ourselves silly about the goaltending situation, which we've already done. We could talk ourselves silly about the defense, who's to blame, who's not, who's better, who's worse. We've already done that, and we've talked about the forwards, how to upgrade, how to offset injuries, who to come in, who to go out, who to call up, who to send down. We could do all that, or we could actually start talking about something that's pretty obvious that'll fix the Edmonton Oilers up right away, and that starts tomorrow night on Reverse Retro Night against the LA Kings, simply put. Folks, if you're new to the channel though, first what I want to just throw out to you is if you want to consider subscribing, just sticking around, talking hockey with me. Hey, sometimes I have some really good ideas, and then I have some really crappy ideas. But guess what? All in the middle there, it is a fandom for the Oilers that we share and we can all talk about and enjoy together and just kind of use this as a meeting hub for all things and anything Edmonton Oilers. All right? Cool. You want to do that? Take the next 5-10 minutes. Let's figure that one out. Anyway, right? We could talk silly about everything to do with the roster, trades, who's in the minors. But you know the one thing I really haven't seen talked about? And I wonder, because this is something that seems to crop up every couple of times I do a video like this, is suddenly it becomes a topic of discussion. And I have done some research this evening, did not see anything about it, but maybe it's something buried in an article that will crop out tomorrow. Simply put, the Oilers need to be better at home. I don't think enough people are putting emphasis on where the Oilers' true struggles on the ice are this season. You take into effect that the Oilers are better on the road and have more wins on the road, despite having played 7 games on the road and 9 at home so far this season. The Oilers are 5-2 on the road trips so far this year, while being 4-5 at home. And quite honestly, you can go, and I don't need to pull up stats. That is not the point of this video, is to throw stats at you, support my argument. This is simply put, looking at the most baseline stat you can, the home record, and saying for a playoff team, that is not good enough. To win the Stanley Cup, you cannot be 4-5 or whatever that translates out to by the end of the year at home. I mean, hey, bodes well. Hey, if you can win on the road, you're going to win a lot of series in the playoffs, guaranteed. But you just need to have that home dominance and home confidence built in, and that is not quite what the Oilers have. Now, say what you will about who started which game and whatever you want to say, is it's not like Stuart Skinner is 100% perfect this year. He is not won every single game he's been in, right? That first game he comes into against Calgary, everything along the way. He has not won every single minute of hockey he's played this year. So we can't, I mean, you could break it down and say, well, in Stuart Skinner's home starts, the Oilers have won X and actually are a much better team than with Jack. You could. You could talk about, well, the defense allows a lot less goals when this guy does. You could go a million ways, and that's why I started the video the way I did, is simply, we're not here to talk about that. It simply comes down to, I don't care about the optics of anything. End of the day, you just got to go out there and start winning at home. That's all it comes down to. And that's where we get to tomorrow in a reverse retro night against the LA Kings, is that's got to be the start of it. You come off this road trip, you had a 500 road trip, 2 really bad games, 2 really good games, and now you got to come home and actually make that mean something. And for the Oilers, what it means is you've got to win tomorrow night against the LA Kings, who are coming off of a weird, like, that game was, I live streamed it over on Clemhawks. Folks, if you haven't checked out Clemhawks, that's kind of operating as my second channel right now, where I'm just talking all things NHL more or less. But end of the day, that was a really wild, weird game at the Saddle Dome last night between the Kings and Flames. And when it comes down to it for the Oilers, is you got to capitalize on the Kings coming off their winning streak, getting the crap kind of kicked out of them at times by the Flames, coming back, rallying, getting their hopes dashed in the final minutes, whatever you want to say, against the Flames, losing last night, and then try and take advantage of that and winning a very meaningful game. Oop, it's all frozen. Sorry, video's lagging out. But you got to make that mean something tomorrow night against the LA Kings, because end of the day, that Florida game was in essence a biggest game of the year. You needed to win that one. Much better, as everybody said post game, to be 9-7 then 8-8, right? Now you're 9-7. The LA Kings have 10 wins. If you can get up there, you can get there too by winning and beating them in regulation and holding them out of the points column for another night. You look at the LA Kings, they've got 21 points on the season, so they've got that one OT loss. That's kind of been the Oilers' problem this year, is when they have lost, they haven't lost in extra time. They've lost ugly. But you look at it, the LA Kings have 10 wins, the Seattle Kraken have 8. It's a race every year in the top 3 of the Pacific to 45 wins. The Oilers are at 9 out of 16 so far. You translate that out a little bit here. 9 divided by 16 times 82. That's 46 wins. So the Oilers are on pace. But if you can make that okay, right? We're going to lose one in the next 4, guaranteed. But if you can make that a 13 out of every 20 and go 65% of the time you're winning over 82 games, you're talking about one of the best seasons the Oilers have had in a hot minute at 53, 54 wins on the season. So I don't mean to throw stats at you. I promised you I wouldn't do that. But you get where I'm going, right? You got to achieve that somehow, and when you've got a sub 500 record at home to start the year, the only way to do that is start winning and making home ice advantage mean something. And whatever the factors you want to blame, again, we're not the coaching staff, we're not the management staff, and you can yell at them all you want. They've got to look at themselves and say, okay, these are the factors as to why we've got a sub 500 home record coming home after the PBR. Here's what we got to do to change that going the rest of the season. And I mean, the best part about the Oilers is they have been able to, so far this year, adapt on the fly. And whatever you want to say, right? We've got a positive goal differential right now. We're in a good spot, despite not being in the spot many fans want us to be in. But you got to get better. And that 5-2 road record, hey, that's where I want to be. I want to win 5 out of every 7 games on the road, right? 5 divided by 7 on the road, right? You're winning more than the series on the road every time. Times what? You play 41 road games. That's 29 wins on the road. I think if we're trying to win 53 games, and we're going to talk about winning more than half of them on the road, us Oilers fans are going to be pretty happy with that, guaranteed. But the problem is, hey, you could do just as good at home if you're that good on the road. And that's where the Oilers need to get going here in the next little bit, especially tomorrow night against the LA Kings. Get it to a 500 home record and then start changing things up before this New York road trip coming up here shortly. So folks, that's really the end all be all of this video. It's not meant to be fancy dancy. It's not meant to draw the eyeballs that a trade rumor is. It is just literally me. Like I said right off the top, this is just discussion. You and me talking about the Oilers, talking about something that really nobody else is talking about, going into a game that has everything to do with it, and hopefully get it going. That said, didn't pick up a reverse retro today. Why? Because I'm waiting on somebody to come up from the minors and decide on a number. I know he's probably got a number already decided, but I'd like to know what James Hamlin's going to wear when he comes up to the NHL level this season before I go out and get my reverse retro. That's kind of my pick. That'll be what my custom plate is. I've already put in the Christmas request to everybody that might be buying me a Christmas gift that I'd like to go out and get James Hamlin on the back of an Oilers reverse retro. So you're talking about getting a blank jersey for about $230, and then you're talking about custom plating, which is about another $115. So gotta hope that the family comes up clutch with the Christmas gift, but all they gotta do is come visit, see that bing, 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 boom. There's a pretty big pattern here in terms of color scheme and logos that I really like. So, Pro Hockey Life gift card, not a bad idea for a guy like me for Christmas if you're my family. Just saying, just saying. Trying to. You see where I'm projecting this? I'm projecting this upstairs, out of this room, out of the corner. So hopefully somebody understands. Anyway, folks, don't let me take up more time. I just wasted a minute of your time on that. That's ridiculous. Have yourselves a great evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We're live on Clem Hawks, likely tonight at 6 or 8 o'clock. We'd love to have you along if you want to tune over. I'll put the live stream link up in the community tab. Thanks so much if you have. And we are gone for this video. Thanks so much.